Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to Tom's Corner, where you can hear the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me God. Topic of our lesson today. What is a Nazarite vow? Now, I have spoken on this at other times, kind of like skipping a rock across the water. I didn't go into detail. I just made reference points to it. But I'm going to read this to you today. It's more of a full volume of it, okay? Are you ready? Number 6 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speaking to the children of Israel, and say unto them, when either man or woman, and this is very important, it says either man or a woman, shall separate themselves to vow a vow of a Nazarite. Now, to separate themselves unto the Lord, number 3, he shall separate himself from wine and shall drink no vinegar of strong drink. Little mixture combination. Neither shall he drink any liquor of grapes. Okay? Nor eat moist grapes or dry. Number 5, all the days of the vows of his separation, there shall no razor come upon his head. All depends on the length of it, you see. Some people may go on a vow that would take months. You're not to put a razor to your head, particularly saying this unto men. Okay, that take the vow. Now, until the days be fulfilled. Now, remember that. Until the days be fulfilled, in the which he separate himself unto the Lord, he shall be holy, and shall what? Let the locks of the hair of his head grow. Now, this also applies to a woman. Not that back then they didn't like for women to cut their hair anyhow, but this pertains, remember, to both male and female. Now, number 13, and this is the law of the Nazarite. When the days of his separation are fulfilled, he shall be brought unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. Now, notice what it says here in 18. And the Nazarite shall shave the head of his separation at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall take the hair of the head of his separation and put it in the fire which is under the sacrifice of the peace offering. Man or woman, okay? Man or woman. Woman's not excluded from this. She has to come before the congregation there, have her head shaved, and same thing with the man, and they bring it and do what with it? They offer it as a sacrifice, a peace sacrifice offering. Now, people have been taking a Nazarite vow, and look, this is what thus means a man or woman, from the time of Moses all the way up and into the New Testament. And we're going to get into it a little bit later here, that even Paul, and then we're talking about 30-some years after Christ had been crucified and ascended, was taking a Nazarite vow. All right, here we go. All the way up into the New Testament. A lot of people say, well, that just went over there right at the time of Jesus. No, even after Jesus ascended, we're talking about the new covenant. Even after that, in the new covenant. See, and so this signifies that it happened from Moses' time all the way down up into Paul's time and probably beyond that. All right, now, a Nazarite vow is of a voluntary nature. Vows were never commanded, they never were, but were a spontaneous expression of devotion, gratitude, or a plea for divine intervention. Now, the decision to make one was entirely up to each individual. Now, from every individual whose heart compels them. In other words, God do in your heart, You feel you need to do this, you do this. It's something like, how should I say it, like fasting, but you're not fasting. You're separating yourself and you're trying to dedicate everything in your heart and life and be as best as you could ever was in your life to Christ. You want to be like Him. All right. The seriousness of a vow in the Hebrew Bible emphasized the importance of integrity, truthfulness, and in one's relationship with God. Deuteronomy 23, and it's in verse 21 through 23. Also in Ecclesiastes 5, and in verse 4 through 5. All right, now, here we go. Now, 1 Corinthians 11 and 5. But every woman who has her head uncovered while praying, and one thing I want you to note, or prophesying, okay? Let's do this again so you understand. But every woman who has her hair uncovered while praying or prophesying shames her head, for she is one and the same as the woman whose head is shaved. Okay. Now, a lot of people bring reference to point of this that if there's a harlot or whatever it is to brand her or something, they have, some say that they would take her and shave her head, okay? Then that way you saw her, you knew it was a shameful thing. But here's the situation. The Bible talks about a woman, I believe it is, that had prophesied in the synagogue. And the debate wasn't the fact that she was not a believer, but the debate was over, or a godly person. But the debate was the fact that if she prophesies, she should have a covering over her head. And the situation goes like this, because they debated that. And a lot of times, if a woman did come off of a Nazarite vow, she would have to have her head shaved and have it burnt as an offering to God. And if she's in church right after that, and she stands and doesn't have a cover over her head, which will be a scarf or something like that, it wasn't that she was sinful or a bad woman. It wasn't that at all. It was the fact she came off the vow, and the men and so forth, and even women, couldn't stand to look at her because her head was all bald-headed, and they desired that she place a covering. I believe you understand that, okay? See, a lot of people get that all mixed up. They give their own interpretation, which 99.5%, they don't know what they're talking about. Acts 18 and verse 18. And Paul, after this, tarried there yet a good while, and then took his leave of the brethren, and he sailed thence into Syria. And with him Priscilla and Aquila, having shorn his head, again, in Caesarea, for he had a vow, okay? He made a vow, which was a Nazarite vow because of the fact he shaved his head. Okay, now in Acts 21, verse 23 through 24, 23 says this. Do therefore this that we say to thee. We have 4 men, now listen to this one, which have a vow on them. Now this was a Nazarite vow, and I will show you this in just a minute. 24. Them take and purify thyself with them, and be at charges with them, in other words, part of the group, that they may shave their heads, which also included what? It included God's anointed man, Paul. All right, be at charges with them, that they may shave their heads, and all may know that those things, wherefore they were informed, concern thee, are nothing, but that thou thyself also walkest orderly and keepest the law. Okay, so now I've explained to you what a Nazarite vow is, and I told you that even a woman or man that could take that Nazarite vow And I explained to you why they would take it. Okay? And also, it carried on from Moses under the law all the way through the period of grace and past the crucifixion. And God bless you. I will see you the next trip.